ಈಗ ನಾಮ details.
Hello everyone. We'll start the webinar in next 5 to 10 minutes as we are waiting for the more participants to join the webinar. Hello. We will start the webinar in 5 minutes. We are waiting for the more participants to join the webinar. We'll start the webinar now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm Sindhu VH from sesamainfo.in, and it's a great pleasure to welcome you all to the today's webinar. This session is organized by sesamainfo.in to bring you timely insights on a very important topic, the sesame crop in Tanzania. With the harvesting season already underway in Tanzania, it is crucial for stakeholders to understand the latest developments on the ground. What's happening right now could influence market trends, supply availability, and trade decisions in the coming weeks. We have an exciting and insightful session lined up featuring industry experts who will share their in depth perspective on the current crop situation, quality expectations, and potential impact on the global sesame trade. We'll also have a question and answer session at the end of both the presentations. If you have any questions during the session, feel free to type them in the chat box and we'll address them after the presentation concludes. Today we have two speakers with us. Now it's time to introduce our first speaker. Mr. Fahad Hadi, he is a dynamic agribusiness leader with over a decade of experience driving sustainable trade across sub-Saharan Africa. As director and shareholder of SM Holdings Limited, Fahad has played a central role in transforming the company into one of the region's leading exporters of sustainable agricultural commodities, including cotton, pulses, sesame, and cashew. Fahad holds a strong reputation for innovation, resilience, and results driven leadership in the international commodities trade. Whether navigating logistics, policy, or sustainability certifications, he brings a pragmatic and forward thinking approach to every opportunity. Now I'll hand over the session to Mr. Fahad, sir. Over to you, sir. Sir, your voice is not audible, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry, Sindhu. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sindhu. I'm not sure if you're going to put the... Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fahad Nahdi, representing SM Holdings, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to this session, looking at Tanzania Sesame crop outlook for 2025. Today, I'll walk you through the trends, market dynamics, production forecasts, and challenges shaping our sesame industry. First, let's look at our disclaimer. This information is just based on our analysis and current market insight. We encourage you to conduct your own assessment for decision-making purposes. Thank you. Next slide, please. Tanzania's sesame production is diverse as its landscape. There are three main producing zones. We have the southern Tanzania, which is highlighted in green on the map. This is the famous home to the famous South Sesame regions like Lindi, Kilwa, and Mtwara, which dominates the national production with a favorable coastal climate. And then we have the southwest Tanzania, which is highlighted in blue. Regions like Mbeya and Songwe, this is where the whitish sesame is coming from. And then we have the central region, which is highlighted in red. Areas such as Dodoma, Morogoro, where the mixed sesame varieties come from. Next slide, please. So we'll look at the overview TMX auction system. TMX has brought much needed structure and accountability to the Tanzania's agri-market. Farmers now deliver produce to warehouse societies where the stock is aggregated and listed for auction on TMX with details such as the tonnage, the quality, the variety made public. Buyers must place a bond based on the intended purchase volume. This serves as collateral to protect the farmers in case of payment default. The auctions are transparent with both farmers and buyers seeing bids in real time. Farmers have the right to reject the offers. Real-time pricing and digital traceability are key strengths, ensuring buyers get exactly what they are bidding for or what they have ordered for, with improved grading and quality control at the warehouses. However, the delays in farmer payments are a drawback. Previously, the farmers were paid immediately by the middleman, but now they might wait up to 7 days or sometimes even more due to the auction timelines and the warehouse aggregation. Another challenge is the limited warehouse number of warehouses, although more are expected to come and become operational in the coming years. Next, we are on next slide, please. Yeah, Tanzania's sesame global competitiveness. Tanzania has strong competitive edge. We have the superior quality. Our sesame is known for its unique taste and high oil content. Growing volumes, production is steadily increasing. Strategic export position, we have ports like Dar es Salaam and Mtwara, which offer direct routes to key Asian markets. And now we have the TMX market system, which adds to transparency and traceability. But we also must address the key weaknesses. We have low mechanization, which is leading to lower yields. We have high finance costs exceeding 12%, and limited value addition, with almost all the sesame exported as raw. Opportunities ahead include investing in hulling facilities and branding Tanzania Sesame as ethically sourced and GMO free. Next slide, please. Look, we're looking at the crop outlook. Tanzania's sesame production has shown consistent year-on-year growth, rising from 154,000 tons in 2023 to 185,000 tons in 2024. Projections for 2025 estimate a further increase to probably above 200,000 tons. This upward trend highlights Tanzania's growing significance as a key global sesame supplier. Next slide, please. So now I wanted to talk to you on the current situation. Here's the current state of play. Last week, we had our first auction. In the first auction, farmers rejected the prices. They felt the prices were too low. And then the second auction, which happened this week, prices dropped slightly, but farmers accepted these prices after being informed of the global oversupply, especially from China. We have the buyers concern. Many buyers have raised quality concerns due to the mechanical cleaning by the warehouses. We feel that the purity standard of 98% remains a key worry for most of us. Looking at the China's market, China is sitting on over 300,000 tons of sesame stock today. This massive inventory is driving the downward prices and creating a cautious buying environment. Next slide, please. Key challenges. We are facing several challenges which need strategic attention. Logistical hurdles, container shortages, and port congestion are affecting shipment timelines. Government intervention, sudden implementation of auction rules have caused a little bit of confusion in some regions. We have global competition. Countries like Brazil, Pakistan, and West Africa are increasing output, adding pressure on prices. Next slide, please. Market outlook. Let's look at the broader market outlook. Bullish indicators. Geopolitical conflicts may push freights and disrupt global sesame flows. Uncertainty from Sudan, a major supplier of sesame, could tighten global supply. But the bearish factors now, strong harvest in Tanzania and Mozambique, China's 300,000 plus stock of sesame, and increased export from Brazil, Pakistan, and West Africa. These could be considered as the most bearish indicators today. Overall, while demand remains stable, believe global oversupply may lead to further corrections in the short term to medium term. And this marks the end of my presentation. Thank you very much, and I welcome questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the informative presentation. As I mentioned earlier, if any of the audience have any questions, please place your questions in the chat box. Sir, we will take the questions at the end of both the presentations.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Now I'll invite our second speaker, Miss Irene Madej Malola. Ms. Irene is a Director General, Cereals and Other Produce Regulatory Authority, Tanzania. Ms. Irene is a seasoned leader with over 23 years of experiences driving transformative changes across finance, telecommunications, and development sectors. As the Director General at COPRA, she plays a vital role in Tanzania's agricultural transformation, focusing on enhancing productivity and competitiveness in the cereals and produce subsector. Ms. Irene's leadership at COPRA is vital to fostering a productive and competitive agricultural environment in Tanzania. Now I'll hand over the session to Ms. Irene. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Sithu. As previously introduced, my name is Irene, and I'm from the Cereals and Other Produce Regulatory Authority. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this webinar. I would first also like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the globe. So my presentation today, as the government institution that is responsible to oversee majority of the produce in Tanzania on the side of the food crops, including sesame and other pulses. I take this opportunity, I'll take you through in terms of the production trends and the government initiatives to improve on the production trends, what it is that we're projecting. But also, I will stress in my presentation how the government of Tanzania is strengthening the Tanzania competitive edge in the global sesame market, and some of the initiatives that have already been highlighted by the previous speakers. I will actually speak on them and affirm what the government is doing. And I'll also talk about policy and institutional support that we are actually giving into the industry and what we expect from the sesame subsector, as well as a call to action in terms of the way forward. Let's start with the production trend. It was also hinted by the previous speaker. The government of Tanzania has embarked on a very, very serious transformative journey in its agricultural sector. And sesame is one of those strategic crops that has been highlighted in our policy agenda that we have. We call it Agenda 2030, which is a very ambitious transformative journey in the agriculture sector. So where we are right now, if you look at our production between year 2022 up to 2024, we've seen significant growth. In fact, it's more than 100% growth in terms of the production. We started with approximately 80,000 metric ton in 2022. And last year, we hit 200,000 metric tons of sesame that has been produced in the country. And if we look at the future, in terms of where we are projecting, in terms of where Tanzania is going to be by 2030, we have an ambitious target to see this one doubling to itself to 500,000 metric tons. So if you look at 2030, Tanzania is projecting itself to be a very serious player in the globe and actually be able to contribute 500,000 metric tons. This is possible because you've also seen what we've already been achieving. And for year 2025, which is the current season that we're already in, we are actually hedging ourselves to actually be able to harvest 250,000 metric tons of sesame. So that's basically what we're bringing, and we see ourselves doubling this one within the next few years to 2030, next 5 years. If you look at these numbers, and Tanzania, for example, last year with our production of 200,000 metric tons, close to 90%, around 88% to 90% of that is actually for export. So last year we saw ourselves exporting approximately 177,000 metric tons of sesame. And this is real numbers because, as highlighted by my previous speaker, we have an automated system in Tanzania. Now we have a digitalized system that is tracking sesame all the way from the farmers and the way it's aggregated through cooperatives it comes into the warehouse receipt and the buyers are participating. So when I say we've exported this number, it is confirmed because we can track it in the system. We can track it within the our channels of export, which as an authority that is overlooking the sector, we have direct access to the numbers. So this is really a positive news because Tanzania, if we look at even the export earnings that we are earning from Sesame, this is a growing number and it is very positive in our balance sheet. So that's an overall in terms of the sector, where we are and basically where we're projecting ourselves. We are going to be a very serious player in the globe, and that is where we're heading. In terms of where it is actually grown, I think the previous speaker has highlighted and a very good map that was shown, so I'm not going to go strong into that. I want to spend my time to highlight what the Tanzanian government is actually doing to really drive the competitive edge in the global sesame market. First and foremost, ensuring that this authority is operational. It's really one of those activities and action, because in the past, Sesame was not regulated, did not have an oversight body that is working very closely with all the stakeholders to ensure that we are coordinating the private sector, the support system, and having an owner to ensure that this crop is looked after from production to ensure that it is complying to the global standards. Whatever it is that we're planting is responding to what the market requires, but also most importantly to ensure the marketing system and structure is very enabling for players to actually be able to participate. So this is really very important. And I think we've seen already within the last 1 year, significant improvement in the way in which the market is actually structured. But also, as a country, we've opened up ourselves. We are actually actively branding Tanzania Sesame, and we are participating in global forums and exhibition to ensure that the market understands that Tanzania is actually a serious player, and we are being able to profile the good sesame that you get from this country, because we know we have a number of areas in the country that are producing whitish sesame, which is famously known as Lindy White, which we know it commands premium market in the global stage. So the whole of the southern region in Tanzania, as well as part of the northern and some of the central part of Tanzania, producing this whitish sesame, which we know it actually commands good price. But also, what is critical as a government, we've put our effort to ensure that we are overseeing quality of our sesame. And as I said, the quality starts from the farming, and having this organization that has its mandate spanning from the farmers and whatever they are doing from the farmers. So looking after ensuring that we have quality seeds and we have a support system with our farmers to ensure that we are overseeing them applying good agricultural practices, but most importantly, looking after the storage and warehouse mechanism, and having formal structures such as a warehouse receipt system and having another body that is overlooking into that. All of that is to ensure that we are looking after the quality to be able to comply to global standards, but also command premium markets. So what we've seen also within the warehouse, one of the biggest challenge was like having good systems to actually look after for quality cleaning systems and all of that. That has been one of the challenge. And this year alone, we've already tendered, and we are looking after ensuring that we're going to have some private sector installing cleaning machinery in our warehouses across the country, so that we can actually be able to bring products that are meeting those export standards that are required on the global market. And also, what is also most critical is as a government agents that is overlooking into pulses as well as Sesame, we work very closely with the private sector to support them to ensure that they bring the Sesame on a timely basis to the global stage. So some of the challenge that we had in the past was logistical challenges within our ports. And last year alone, we had a special task force that is working hand in hand with all the buyers and exporters who are participating in our auction system, meaning they are the ones who are buying, to work closely with them to coordinate with other government agency and especially the Tanzania Ports Authority, and supporting them to expedite to ensure that the product is actually being delivered to the global standards within, to their markets, wherever the buyers are in the world, on a timely basis. And for us, that is important because as a government, we understand our role and we understand that for us to succeed, we must support our private sector and to ensure that whoever wants to trade with Tanzania, first of all, is coming into an environment that produces a market structure that is facilitative for them to actually be able to engage, but also to ensure that we are producing quality and we have quality mechanism within our system that will be able to ensure quality product into the global stage. Also, on the other side, we are continuing to empower our smallholder farmers to ensure that they have access to the seeds that are needed, but also, most importantly, to ensure that we have the right extension services. We have enough extension services that have knowledge in Sesame so that we are able to support the growth and the production of sesame, but also to ensure that we actively engage in research and innovation for any new technology as well as knowledge that is needed for our farmers. So those are really serious actions that Tanzania has adopted. And I think we've seen in terms of the way we've actually increased in terms of our production trend up to now. And basically, with these actions and many things that we're doing, we have no doubt that we'll actually be able to meet our ambitious targets by 2030 and seeing ourselves producing 500,000 metric tons, but most importantly, supporting engagement of the buyers and exporters across the globe to come and be able to engage with Tanzania using our auction system, and as well as a very robust and mechanism to actually be able to reach to the different places where sesame is growing and actually being able to export it within a short time. So in terms of the private sector engagement, which is very critical and what I've actually already talked about, we are welcoming more investment in storage and logistics, warehouse operation, because with those growth, we really want more participation, not only of people buying, but people coming in the country and actually bringing expertise and engagement into those areas to ensure that we are supporting more trade with Tanzania to the world. So that's basically what I have to share with you right now. And I look forward into the question and answer to actually be able to respond on behalf of the government in terms of whatever it is that we are doing and how we are supporting the market and the growth of this sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. It's great to know how the government efforts in supporting farmers and private sector in Tanzania. Thank you for sharing those insights, ma'am. Now we will take the questions from the chat box. Actually, I have a question from my side to Fahad sir. Sir, earlier you mentioned that like the farmers are rejecting the bids, right? Like auctions are getting postponed. So, if it's true, like what are the price expectations from the farmers? How it was before and how it is now? Like in what range the expectations the farmers are expecting? Hello. I think he's not there. So let's take the questions from the chat box.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, sir.
Sindhu? Sorry,
Yeah.
Sindhu. Having issues with my network here. So your question was the farmers rejecting the current prices. Yeah. Looking at where we came from last year prices, I think they are off. Probably the lowest last year prices were off around 15% or 20%. And they were expecting probably equal or more to last year's price. So there's a lot of efforts, government consultants that are going around explaining to the farmers that Tanzania is a price taker. Eventually, it all ends up to the overall supply. So they are now they're now accepting the current prices.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying. And what are the current offer prices from Tanzania? So there is a question about that in the chat box as well.
Say that again. The current offer prices or
Yeah,
the auction prices?
offer prices as well as the auction.
Offer prices, yeah. It ranges. We have not started the South. South Sesame has not yet started, but the whitish is being offered around 1450 levels, CNF China.
Oh, thank you, sir. Now there is a question for Miss Irene, ma'am. So, like the question is, how easy is it for a foreigner companies to participate buying from local market and doing export? Is there a policy that Tanzania government want to protect existing traders or exporters?
Okay. As I said previously, we would like, because of the growth of our production, we would like as much as possible to increase participation into of buyers from across the globe. So with the current auction system, if a trader would like to actually be able to participate in our market, we have a procedure for them to actually do the registration. And once they do the registration and do the compliance with our local business registration agency, as well as with COPRA and the TMX system, then they are able to participate. And the second part of the question was basically, do we have initiatives to actually be able to protect, the existing companies? And I wouldn't say the existing company, I said the investors who've actually been here for the longest period of time and who have actually invested into the country, and they have got they're paying taxes, they've got companies, and they have employees. So for these ones, at Copra, what we're doing right now, we will have two categories. So those foreigners, there will be some criterias that they will need to be able to fulfill, and some of the costs that they will need to actually be able to pay over and above those who have local establishment. So these are some of the things that we will do to be able to protect the companies who've been here for a longer time, and we will have the criteria for those companies for them to actually be able to enjoy a slighter, a more benefit to the foreign companies who will be able to participate. So in the end, we will welcome both locals who are already here and those who would want to participate without necessarily having a local establishment, but there will be two criteria so that we don't punish those who are existing in the country.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I hope it clarified the question. So the next question is for Fahad sir. The question is, what is the size of the local market of sesame in Tanzania?
The consumption in Tanzania sesame is very small. I would say it's less than 5%, probably around 5%. Maybe Irene can have more inputs on that because she controls the data of what is being exported and what is being locally consumed.
Yeah, I can add on to that. If you look at last year's number, the production was around 200,000 metric tons. And within the last year, the last 12 months, the export was around, let's say 180. I'm just going to round it up there. But the fact that it was not exported within the 12 months of production, it doesn't mean that it will not be exported post that. So 10% is what was not exported, but there is a possibility that is also going to be exported, this year. So what the answer is around 5%, that's sort of right.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Mr. Bashili, Elisha has raised the hand. I think he has a question for one of you. Are you there, sir? Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Bashir Elisha. I'm a farmer also. But what makes difference between the price of this year and compared to the last year? Because as we see from some of Tanzanian zones, they also tried to sell this these crops, but if you see the price of last year and this year, you see that this year the price is too low. So what makes these things to be happen too low compared to last year? That is my question.
Okay. Fahad sir, would you like to answer this question? Actually, the answer has been already told. It would be better if you give the clarity.
Yeah, hi. We just spoke about it earlier on, but can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so coming to Bashili's question, I mean, him being a farmer, I think he's very emotional. Definitely, Bashili, the main reason is that there is oversupply coming in from all around the world. This is putting pressure on Tanzania sesame prices. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying. There is one more question. It's like a basic kind of question. Like, what is the Tanzania sesame production expected, and what is the harvest times, and how many crops of sesame are there in Tanzania?
Okay, I can take that question. As previously I mentioned, the expectation for this year is 250,000 metric tons. Last year we did 200,000 metric tons. And projection by 2030 is 500,000 metric tons. So in terms of the different varieties of sesame that we have in Tanzania, we have whitish as well as mixed and pure Lindy white. So pure Lindy white is basically the variety that is found on southern part of Tanzania, and then which is comprised of three region mainly: Pwani, Lindi, Mtwara, and there's part of Manyara and Arusha that you can actually be able to find this pure Lindi white. And then some central part Tanzania, you'll be able to find what we call whitish. No, I think this is now southern highlands. You'll be able to find whitish sesame, which is in the regions of Mbeya and Songwe. And some of Katavi, you find whitish, which is somewhere in the middle. In the rest of the central regions, you will be able to find mixed sesame, which is basically central part, Dodoma, Morogoro, Singida areas, you find mixed sesame. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So there is a question from my side. There was a mention about yields, right? So what was the yield last year and what is the expected yield this year?
When you say yield, what do you mean? The production volume is what I've just said. Oh, you're talking
Productivity.
productivity.
I think Irene, they're referring to an acre produces
Per acre.
what?
Okay.
The yield, the acreage per yield.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I didn't bring those numbers with me, so I cannot be able to answer you that question. But it is something, if you are doing you have a communication with the participants, I'll ask my team to actually be able to compute that and we'll share with you.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you. And also, I request the participants, if any of you are dealing in Tanzania, please feel free to speak. The floor is open for you. If you want to add any points or want to share your insights, you can raise your hands and you can use the floor as well. Okay. Lamek Matsumi has raised the hands. You can ask your question, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. So my name is Matumi from Tanzania, company called Eventell Global. And I commend you for this very good forum, especially on the discussion and comparison with the global prices. Because we have farmers in Tanzania who sometimes they do not understand the dynamics around system production and the how it's affected by the global supplies. But it's good that the government was able to explain this to farmers and now the auctions are going on. But just one question that I had, and especially Irene, if you can also discuss something around, you mentioned issues and the call for investment in warehouses, which I think is needed. But again, the investment in cleaning and hiring machines, because some of the buyers globally they're requesting for
Sorry for interrupting, sir, but your voice is not clear. You're not audible properly.
Oh, sorry. I'm somewhere where it's like outside. I hope you can hear me now, right?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So just my question was, or my call was, if you can discuss something around government incentives for investors who may be willing to bring in like cleaning machines and hiring machines so that we can increase the quality of the system that we're exporting. Because now, even if we look at the auction, a lot of systems that we are selling on auctions is ungraded. And I feel like we have not done a very good job in cleaning and grading before selling. So what are the government strategies and maybe incentives in investing in these machines? Incentives to investors who are, maybe willing to bring these machines for cleaning and the grading system. Are there any specific government incentives that maybe people on this forum can know? And so that at least maybe in the next 2-3 years, we can increase the proportion of system that is sold as graded instead of ungraded. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Would you like me to respond to that, Asida?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. I thought you were going to take more questions. So thank you very much, Mr. Machumu. And I want to be very clear. The government is very serious to ensure that we are bringing to the global stage sesame that is is of the highest quality and proudly Tanzanian product. And for this to happen, it was necessary, first of all, we structure the market, which is basically what we've done, so that we have a system to which we can actually be able to oversee the quality before the transaction of buying takes place. Now, with our warehouse, because now you cannot buy sesame in Tanzania without it passing through the warehouse. We already have that in itself is already helping us because we have warehouse operators who are properly trained and who are actually inspecting on the sesame and the goods that are getting there to ensure that the moment we are producing that catalog and it's sold online, it is actually being cleaned and it is of the quality that is actually corresponding to the catalog. However, to be able to improve from that level, because it's important for me to be able to tell the world stage, that is where we are right now, and we are seeing significant improvements already. But in order to go to the next level higher, we've seen the importance of ensuring that we are also installing machines in our warehouse so that we can also do the full shebang, meaning color sorting and the grading and all of that, so that we improve further and in terms of the information that we bring into the auction. When the buyers are actually purchasing, they know exactly what they're buying. Now, this is an initiative that is not only things that we're talking about. Exactly 1 month ago, the government has issued request for proposal, call for proposal for private companies to actually invest into, because the government doesn't want to do it by itself. It's going to engage the private sector who have expertise to bring those machines. What we are going to give them is an access to come and operate in those warehouses. We will issue a guideline that will mandate all the warehouses that are operating in Tanzania. They must have this machineries operating in their warehouses. And for these machines to operate, there will be another investor who is going to be allowed an access into this warehouse. And it's going to be a commercial structure, but the government will also oversee to ensure that this commercial structure is actually meeting the cost of investment and the profitability is there. So we're basically creating an environment that is allowing the private sector to participate, but it's on a purely commercial basis. What we will do is to ensure the guidelines are actually enforcing that process. And in that way, the private sector will actually be able to do business. So the call for proposal that we've issued, we've already gotten quite a number of companies responding. We are doing an analysis, and there's already a lot of information that we're getting from the private sector. We will bring those investors on the table and do further discussion to ensure what is the right mechanism that we can actually be able to do this. We want a win-win situation between the private sector as well as the government. But what is more important, we bring quality and very improved product into the global stage. So in those discussions, Mr. Machumu, for those who've responded to the call of proposal, the call to action, and others who are interested, please reach out to Copra. We're very much welcome. We will do a discussion to ensure that a business model that we will be deploying is going to be profitable to the private sector, but is also going to be sustainable in the system. That's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for addressing that question. So there is one more question. The question is there any sesame processing facility available in Tanzania, such as hulling or oil crushing, or any company planning to put a processing facility there?
In terms of sesame processing facility, cleaning facilities I mean, quite a lot of our buyers do have cleaning facilities and some of these high-end machineries that are actually doing color sorting and all of that. Most of our prominent buyers are doing that, exporters. But in terms of processing facility, as far as I know, we have investors who've actually shown interest. And as a government, we are facilitating them so that they are able to establish these processing facilities. And the government is welcoming these initiatives. And I take this opportunity to even announce it here. And we are ready to sit down with them in terms of being able to give them routes for them to actually be able to access sesame into the country, because our policy is to encourage value addition of sesame and many of the products that we're having in the country, commodities. Yeah.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. So yeah, there is a question. Which of local agri product is being replaced by sesame, as sesame production is growing rapidly in Tanzania?
I honestly don't know the answer to that. I know some of my team members are here. If they know of the agri product that is being replaced by sesame in Tanzania, maybe Mr. Fahad can also help me here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more to do with the competing crops. Yes, we've seen pulses. Most of the regions that grow sesame, this is the Lindi, the Mtwara region, they also grow pulses, the pigeon peas, which they also got very good prices last year. So yeah, there is competing crops. I mean, soybeans is coming up as well. Soybean could be also potential. Yeah, so we do have competing crops. So if farmers are not satisfied this year with sesame, they can easily switch to more lucrative crops in the coming year.
I get it, Mr. Fahad, but the fact that we are improving on our production volume, that's why I was struggling to imagine that it is actually being replaced, because we've seen the production volume growing from 80,000 to now 200,000, and we're projecting to 250,000. I know what you're saying, but at least, the production volume is not being replaced. We are busy seeing increment in that. But potentially, if we don't do well in terms of the prices, we will see the farmers switching. That's for sure.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. There is one more question regarding cleaning loss. Like, how much cleaning loss should we consider for sesame?
Based on the current catalogs that we're producing from our warehouses, 98% purity is what we are actually we are seeing, and we are working hard to ensure that's the kind of quality that we are offering and assuring from our warehouses.
Yeah, just to add to that, with the TMX coming in, previously the admix was extremely high. We could go as much as 12%, but with the introduction with the TMX systems, Copra in play, our regulator, I think we've seen the purity go as 98 is achievable. So they do manual cleaning at the warehouses before they, but no way do we see those pre-TMX admixtures coming in at play this time.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, sir. I can see a message from Dawal Raninga sir in the chat box. I request Dawal Raninga sir himself to explain what he has mentioned there.
Yeah, my question too, I think Ms. Irene or Mr. Fahad, both or anyone can answer, is we see the global demand for the sesame has remained relatively stable, especially in the major importing countries such as China or Japan or Turkey or Middle East. While there is some growth in demand, but it is not keeping is the same pace with the rapidly growing increase in the global production. But in recent year, new origin like the Brazil and Pakistan has also emerged as a significant supplier. So, Ms. Irene also mentioned there is a projection to increase the production up to 500,000 ton in by 2013 in Tanzania. So, in your view, could this growing supply put additional pressure on the international sesame price or potentially disadvantage to the farmer also, particularly those who are lack of awareness of the global market trends also? A relatively example is current situation in Tanzania where auction does not align with the international level, yet the farmer are still dissatisfied with the prices they are receiving right now.
As you said, it's going to be a question that we share. But in terms of where we are as a government, we don't, when we look at the future, we don't think of us continuing to sell commodities without value addition. So in terms of our plans, when we were talking about going all the way to 500,000, we are also working hard to see ourselves also doing the value addition into final products as a country, so that we are able to offer this one to the world, and as well as also encourage consumption of these products in the country ourselves, because we believe it's a good thing. It's just that people are not exposed to that. So that's basically the reason why we look at it. And when we do value addition, definitely we will be able to maintain value for our farmers, because then the products will actually be of a higher value, and we will have the industries in Tanzania for that to happen. So that's why I said earlier, a call to action for us is welcoming investors to install machineries for value addition, or partner with Tanzanians in order to be able to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Irene.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. I hope you got answer for your question.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, if any of the audience have questions, please place your questions in the chat box. Or if you can.
I've seen a question from Mr. Shanif Kara. Maybe I can take it up.
Yeah. I can see the question, ma'am. Do you want me
Yeah,
to?
he says, does corporate inform farmers of agents about international prices? He's basically talking about the issues of refusing to pay and all of that.
Yeah.
So yes, as Copra, this is our second year of operation. We've seen that gap in the importance of ensuring our farmers have access to global international prices, basically global market trends, so that we can actually be able to communicate a lot more with our farmers, so that they don't think that it is actually it's not just the prices somebody's just deciding, but it's global trends that we actually need to be able to respond to. So one of the things that we have taken an action to do at Copra is to start some bulletins in a very simplistic way, to be able to release them to our farmers, but to engage very closely with the cooperatives on a weekly basis, to ensure that they also understand these international market forces, so that they're able to make the right decisions when they actually participate in the auctions.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
I have a question for Irene, for Madam Irene, as a regulator. I hope I can ask this question.
Go ahead.
Okay, Irene, looking at this massive crop that is coming in, probably 250,000 tons. How are we prepared? How is our regulator preparing the logistics end of making sure the the port, the containers availability, the shipping lines are also giving priority to the sesame that goes out because these are time-sensitive commodities. You've been very proactive in other commodities last year and you helped us quite a lot. But how prepared are you in this season? Irene, I think you're muted. Sorry,
Yeah.
you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I have just done, yeah, I'm already in now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you. So basically, last year we responded, but it was on last minute and it was firefighting. From the lessons of last year, we've already started engaging with the Tanzania Ports Authority to put together the SWOT team in close collaboration with yourselves. So very soon we will engage with the Tanzania Pulses Network, as well as some of the exporters to be able to put up those logistic coordination team to be able to support this happening, because it is very important, as you basically say, we need to support you guys to do well, because again, we don't want the trading to stop and to stall. So yes, we will be more proactive this year, and very soon we will start the coordination mechanism with the private sector.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. I hope your question has been answered. So, like, what is the cost of production for farmers, ma'am, in Tanzania for sesame?
I wouldn't be able to answer, but I've seen somebody called Mr. Nzunda, who is working with the Tanzania Research Authority. I'm just wondering, just in case Mr. Nzunda knows this, because they're responsible to calculate the farm gate prices, they can respond. Is this? I'm not sure if it is Mr. Nzunda who works for TARI. Is that the one who works for TARI?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm one.
Yeah,
I'm
please.
one. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. The price differs from one region to another, and this is due to the cost of production, like labor cost. If you move from one area to another, they charge differently, and that's making different in production. We did in some parts of the regions, like in Masasi, I don't know. I'm going to mention for T shillings, which were ranging somewhere 608, 680,000 per production, cost of production per acre. This is for 3 years ago. And some areas were going to 700,000 T shillings per acre. Some could go above or less 680,000. So that is T shillings. So it differs from one area to another. There's no specific price unless we now try to do for the average for the whole country. I don't know if I'm made myself clear on that.
Yes, Joseph, just a follow-up question. It was asked previously. What is the yield per acre? How many kilos do they produce in 1 acre?
The yield per acre, these varieties I mentioned in 2 areas. As researchers, the variety Lind 202 can produce 1.5 ton per acre. That is done in research. But farmers, well, that is almost equals to 600 kilograms per acre. But farmers are getting less than that. And areas with good experience, like Kilwa, which is in the south, Masasi, some farmers are able to reach 500 kilograms, but most of them, you find that they get 200 kilograms per acre. And we can say, and the areas where we have trained them to follow all the agronomic practices with good agronomic practices, they can get more than 400 kilograms per acre. But the average normally is below, most of them, the greatest part is less than 300 kilograms per acre. Although we have the experience of some farmers who we gave them improved seeds. With improved seeds, they go above 400 kilograms per acre. But with their low or some of the unimproved seeds, they get less than 200 kilograms per acre. So that's the how we experience and how we know. But for some varieties, like we have another variety which is also white and has not been produced in many, is producing, the productivity is 1 ton per hectare. And most of the farmers, they actually get also 200 to 3. But normally,
Thank you so much,
the
Joseph.
average, I would
Appreciate
say, is yes,
maybe
yes.
300. Yeah. Okay. Appreciate.
Yeah. Yes.
So that would work out to be around 2,300 shillings per kilo as the cost of production, according to the quick calculations that I have. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for Najunda sir. Sir, why there is a like huge differentiate between the yield, like ranging from 200 to 400?
The difference of this price depends from one area to another, and the charges of production is also differ. Some farmers, they will cost you, like when you want to say cultivation, maybe land clearing or plowing, they may charge you 100,000 per acre. But you go in some areas, the charges are not as high. They may say is 80,000 per acre. So it is due to the cost of production differs from one area to another, but also due to vegetation. If you go in some parts of the south, the type of vegetation is very different. You need very hard in land clearing, will take you a lot of cost. But you also, some areas like in the southern part, you have different insect pests, like the flea beetle. It is in some areas, but in like in other areas, there's no cost for involved in the production about insect pest. So management of insect pest is high in some areas, and in some areas is less. Then soil management also. Some areas are well fertile and some has very poor soils. So with poor soils, you find that the cost is increasing, and some areas with high fertility, the cost is reducing. So that's why I say the cost differ from one area to another, and the reason being insect management, soil status, the type of vegetation, and the type of labor, the types of casual labors you are using, and the means of production, if it is mechanized or if hand or high hand working or just manual work. Yeah, I think it is clear.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that. I just wanted to know, like, what is the percentage of the area which is under irrigation? What is the percentage of irrigated area under sesame?
And a normal area for sesame is produced under rain-fed condition for our country. Only very few farmers. I would say it is less than 5. And we only do this in research, is where we have small parts where we do the irrigation. and one I know, like 2 or 1 investors who did irrigation in some parts like in Tanga, but the Tanzanian sesame is rain-fed, and we would like to encourage, that's one of part which we would advise people to invest in irrigated sesame, because if you do the irrigation, we have done in the research, and you get good yield when you do under irrigation. Yes. And the ones asking about the oil content, we have sesame with about 50-80% oil content, like Ziada 94 is one of the variety which goes up to 58%. Lind goes up to 55% oil content. That's why the Irene, when mentioned about the type of sesame we have in Tanzania, is very good because it has a high oil content and is palatable, I can say, with a good taste. That's why we encourage the investors to come in. If they can do for irrigation, then that could be appreciated.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering the question. Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering the question. Yeah.
Okay, one is asking about the use of insect pesticide. How do you
How do you
use
control?
of one of the strategies that we are doing now as one of our strategy is educating farmers. One stage is educating farmers on the proper use of this insecticide, but we also have some other regulatory authority we call Tanzania Pesticide Health Authority, Regulatory Authority, TPHPA, where they also assist in training farmer proper use and controlling insect. We know sesame is food. That's what we are trying to sing all over the country, that sesame is food. So any chemical which the farmer is going to use has to be clearly defined. And lucky enough, in areas like Central, in Songwe, there's no chemical use. And even in the South, some people are saying, oh, the pesticide from Keshu go to sesame, which is not true. It's not true. There's no entry point. The time when you are plowing, you are controlling insect pest in Keshu is quite different from the time when we harvest sesame. Sesame, now we are harvesting in this month in the southern part. It is time where we are not applying pesticides now. So you can see some people just say, okay, there is use. But another thing, we are trying to train all the cooperatives, the AMCOs, the cooperative union have got people. We train the cooperative to be very careful in handling these chemicals to make sure that there is no mixture or there is no entry point where chemicals can meet with the sesame. So that's just few steps that we are taking.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now we will wrap up the webinar. So yeah, I thank both the speakers for providing insightful information. I also thank all the other participants who have joined the webinar and made it successful. I also thank Mr. Joseph sir for answering the questions. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. I think, Fahad, I hope I've sent you the number. You can send me also, and then we can keep in touch.
Thank you, Sisu, and thanks everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. We will keep the floor open for 5 minutes for networking. You can take use of it.
Okay, Fahad. Madam Irene.